a vertical bellows hydroforming machine that's formed with water or oil or glycol. Kind of walking around the machine right now. Over here we're looking at the hydraulic power supply. That's to control the cylinder. On this particular unit we're using two different kinds of oil. One for the power to operate the cylinders and the other one to pressurize the tube. And we can see all the valving system there. Now below here we're looking at the reservoir. This is the reservoir that's used for forming the tube. And this particular tubes are being formed with a glycol substance, which is a water-soluble oil. And we come right here, we're looking at the power supply. Here is the control panel, and with those buttons we control the compression cylinder, the pressurizing oil, and any other cylinders that we need with the system. There's an automatic cycle there, and here's a red button for the emergency stop. And here we have two starter boxes because we're using two different power supplies. Inside there you see the track where the die assembly slides in and out. In to form, out to set up, and tear down. We're looking at the back of the unit right now. And down here, this is the oil that's used to form the tube. And here is the pump, which is a piston pump, pressure compensated. Again, here's the valves. Over here is a hydraulic system that has multi-valves stacked. Here's the filtering system. And here is the power supply for forming the tube. Now if we come up here, we'll see that we got some proximity switches. This proximity switch here to control the full stroke of the cylinder. This proximity switch here is a mid-prox that's used to stop the compression cylinder at a designated position for forming. And then up here, we have the last proximity switch that is retracting the cylinder all the way back. Okay, now we're going to start assembling the tooling. And we have the bottom or the end clamps in position. Now he's installing the tube, and he's going over an O-ring. And he just seats it at the bottom there. Now he'll proceed to put all the other dies together. Okay, you can see here now that we're starting to load the dies. And of course we put the spacers in between each die. So we're starting to make the setup until we get the amount of rings that we want to make the convolutions. Here he's using a little hand drill to get the screws in. It helps to do a lot quicker. Now we're putting in the spacers. Okay, now we're putting on the end clamp. And once we get this done, then we put on the top seal. And we'll show a view of that in a second. He's doing a final, going to tighten them up. So you can see now we're installing the guide rods. And this will help keep the alignment good while we're compressing the bellows. You should use this for all different sizes regardless, because they do help to get a nice even smash on the bellows. Okay, now we're loading the top seal assembly. You can see the O-ring right there, which is going to go right into the tube itself. And then we look at the guide rods that are sticking out, and we've got these little hooks on there so that we can drop it into the seal into the tube very slowly, and so that it lines it up good. Now that we've got it all put together, he's going to slide it into the press. And you'll see there's some stops here. Those red stops, they're hard compressed rubber so that you don't be banging everything up. Now we're going to get ready to do the forming. Okay. Okay, now he's going to install a shield here And that's just in case the tube should crack or the seal should give or something. We're not going to get all over the place. So we basically locked the whole thing into place. Okay, now in this segment here, you can see where the compressor, this big red dome there, or tube. Now here, we're having to use spacers here because of the fact that basically we're testing the machine. We don't have tubes long enough so that we can lapse it enough, because it's going to be a very short bellow. So that's why we got those spacers there. But now that we've got it in a position where we're making contact, good contact with the tooling itself, now we're going to start pressurizing. Okay, now you see we reached pressure up there. This particular tube, because of the wall thickness, we're pressurizing. We're going to form the tube at 2,368.69 psi. Once we get to this point where we reach that, the tube now if we look inside here, you can see that the tube is already pre-bulged. And we have to do this so that when we take the spacers off, the dies are going to stay in position. So we've pre-bulged the tube and moved it out maybe 15, 20, 30 thousandths of an inch. That's it. Now we're going to lift up the compression cylinder. Go ahead, lift it up. And we're going to keep lifting it up until we clear those rods so that we can pull the dies out. Okay, very good. Now he's going to pull the tooling out. He slides it all the way out. And now we're going to proceed to remove all the spacers. Okay, now that we have all the shins removed, we're going to move the dies back into position. And he'll push them back in there until they make the stop in the back there. And now he's going to put the shield on again. Hooks up at the top there, real easy. There's two hooks right there, we just slides right in there. And now the dies are in place there. Now we want to give it a walk around to make sure that no spacers are left in between the dies. Because if you'll do, you will damage the dies or the tooling. So we got to be sure that they're all clear and you can see daylight all the way through. Okay, now we've brought the cylinder down again so that the compression ring is making contact with the spacers. Now we're going to pressurize the tube. Now we're pressurizing the tube, and we should be up to 2,300 psi or whatever we have set up on the top there. See if I can get a shot of it. There it is. Now he's going to compress the die down, all the way down. Keep going down. Finished. Oh, no. Turn it off now. Okay, it's all formed now. Everything's compressed. Now it's just a question of removing, taking it back out, taking it apart, and we got a bellow. We'll see what it looks like. Now we're going to raise up the compression drum. And we raise it up far enough just to clear the guide rings. And when he gets there, he stops. Now you can turn the system off. And now we're going to pull it out and take it apart and see what happens. Okay, we've taken out the shield, now he's pulling it back out. Slide it out. Take those spacers off there. And those spacers are only there because we're testing here and we really don't have long enough tubes, because we can make up to about 20, 25 convolutions if necessary. So now we're going to start taking it apart. We're going to take it apart basically the same way we put it on. We're going to lift up the top seal assembly, lift it out of the die, unscrew all the die rings, separate it, pull the rods out, and let's see what the finished product looks like. Oh geez. Okay, now he's going to lift up to pull the top seal assembly out of the bellows, the formed bellows. There he goes. And he just keeps on pulling it all the way up until we clear the rods. And you kind of just hold it up on top there. You can keep going up higher. Higher, higher, higher. Higher. Okay. Just go up higher. Well, okay, here's the bellow we just formed. And you can see what a nice even form you get with this here. The form cycle basically only takes, well, this particular one here takes maybe 5 seconds. If you had a lot of maybe 5 or 10 more dies on there, it might take you 12 to 15 seconds, because the hydraulic press doesn't go that fast. You don't want to go too fast. But you can see the dies themselves as they collapse, and you can see the bellow that's formed. Now it's just a question, as we showed earlier, you just kind of raise up the bottom seal, tilt the die over, and pour the oil back into the tank. This completes today's program. The product designed and built by AMH.